purchase that property. But this kind of gives you guys an idea of, like, we're here. We're not going anywhere. We want you guys to know what ideas we have. Actually, one of the other questions was, you know, if you're so concerned about, you know, your son going to school here in Kid Friendly, which we are, why don't you build a park in the middle of your subdivision? Okay, well, I can't do that, but know that this drawing came way before church. And we actually have a little green space with a park on the end. This is very raw, but, you know, clearly we would need some additional parking and things like that to make that work. But we are thinking about the kids. We are thinking
probably across the street.
Literally across the street.
We were planning on doing townhomes there.
We were literally planning on wanting to do townhomes. It's a beautiful piece of land. There could be a lot done there. But I wanted to highlight because, you know, a lot of the city had mentioned, you know, about the kids and stuff. So let me just highlight that Eastgate Park is 0.4 miles, less than 2 minutes from there. McGee Park, which is really nice. We go there all the time. 1.6 miles. Dream Park is not that far. And I don't know if we know, and I'm sure you probably do, that there is a Trinity Trailhead going in right down the street. Who doesn't want to live right next to the Trinity? We get on that bad boy probably every other week. We like to go every week, but we just don't have that kind of time. But we were just out there. So there is a lot to do with families, kids. We just really think that this can be a really great thing for the city of River Oaks. Oh, we just thought we would show you because we had them readily available. This was kind of our thoughts on the townhomes across the street that we would like to do. A lot of people liked them, some didn't, but, you know, that's kind of what we had in mind. Very nice, very modern mixture. They have board battens.
Just follow on that, though. Some of that land is River Oaks and some of it is Fort Worth, right?
So I want you to know that, yes, the answer is yes. But I had already looked into it, and I know exactly how we can keep everything in Fort Worth without even having to, in River Oaks, without even having to bring Fort Worth involved. And the reason that I know that is because the project that we're working on right now, we had that exact same issue where one of the boundaries is Fort Worth, the other boundaries is White Settlement, and it's like, So we understand that we can get very creative with our inlets and outlets, right, regarding traffic flow, so that we don't have to bring in another city and involve another city. So very good point. And so if you go back to the one before. Let me just not just talk about it. Let me actually show you. So Black Oak, and Sam Calloway, right? So all of that is Fort Worth, as long as you're hugging the sidewalk that is north of Douglas, east of Sam Calloway, and we would. So you'll notice, and again, this is very, very, very infantile in its nature, okay? But because we would only involve North Douglas, East Sam Calloway, this would not involve Fort Worth at all.
And just to kind of wrap up, what we are trying to do with church, we would need some help from the city. You know, we're selling these homes for $400,000. We cannot have this sitting across the street. We would need to figure out some way, shape, or form to help.
That's already.
Well,
See, perfect.
All good there.
Yeah. All right, well then you're good.
Why do you call it a church?
Oh, because it's the project.
It's the
neighborhood church. So every project has a name, and it's church.
And that's what we call it. It's our church plan
It's
development.
our church plan development. That's all we have. Is there any additional questions?
Your entrance off of Black Oak, would that be traffic engineer and lay that out?
So we've spoken with our civil engineer, and there's been so many revisions now. So on the plat, that's not going to occur. But on all of the documentations that I provided the city, I can't put it on this plat but, because I don't got anything great, the plat, obviously, this is straight, I have licensed surveyor. All of the entrance, right where you're coming in to the entrance of this plan development is highlighted and, clouded, which in engineering and architecture means to be determined. Because we want to make sure that the design that we present you guys is something that we all feel comfortable with. And when I mean that, I honestly don't want to go over the concept in air conditioning. I need boots on the ground with city officials, us, our civil engineer, working with the surveyor to say, guys, let's look at this together because we only get one shot at making it right. So that has been the plan all along. And Mr. Gregory, please, I mean, you got to back me up on that one. That really has been our approach from the beginning.
And looking at it, if it was me, I would want that traffic engineer because it comes around the corner like it does. It could be dangerous there. So I did put in the ordinance to be traffic engineer for any development, not just y'all. It's going to have to be that way for any development to be sure that it is the most safe access.
I know on some developments like this, wherever the two corner houses are that meet the street, sometimes they have a brick or rock entrance, either side, landscape, real nice, but you almost have to pull out in the middle of the street to see if anything's coming.
Yeah, that's not planned here, and those houses have an additional 5 feet of offset for the building line. That none of the other homes have. Well, they don't need it because they're not in the corner.
So at the end, this would be a public street?
Yes, oh, absolutely, yes. This is not an HOA. We want to be able to build it to specifications and turn it over to the city. Yeah, this is not an HOA. We're not interested in keeping it ourselves.
So it won't be it's not a gated area.
It is not a gated community.
So tell us about how you arrived at 400,000, and was that different? Has that changed between the two proposals?
Yeah, so part of my frustration, honestly, and part of my hesitation is that I feel very comfortable bringing a 325 to 350,000. The number was 349,999, and keeping the 35 out of it. That is the sweet spot. According to all of the numbers, according to all the financial models, the sweet spot is 325 to 349,999. This, in order for me, because I'm losing 4 homes, I have to do something somewhere, right? And so it's gonna affect my finishes, which then I'm having to put a lot of weight on finishes, which I don't control what it appraises for, right? I really don't. I have no control over that. So yeah, our finishes have had to go up, and now these are projected to sell. I have to sell these for $397,000 minimum in order to do okay. Period. And I'm really hoping that after I sell 3 or 4, that I can raise that price to around $425. So no, any chance of me saying, hey, you know what? If something happens, something just goes really, really south, although there is contingency built into the project, yeah, it takes away my level. Everybody has a level of risk, right, that they're willing to take, and that's up to no one to decide but yourself when you're investing in the stock market, when you're doing anything, right? Well, my level of risk is pretty much maxed out when it comes to the revised design, and that's just because now I'm having to sell a home that I wanted to sell for $325,000 to $349,000, right, with a certain level of finishes. Now I'm having to hope that I'm able to woo people at that $397,500 price by doing some modifications. What is one of those modifications? A study, right? We're going to put in a study in office.
Tell me a little bit about the finish on the house and on the inside. Are we talking Class A of
So what?
granite?
So,
no, we don't do
it's gonna be, all custom cabinets, there's nothing prefab. It's quartz countertops. People have actually now shifted, there are still some people who like granite, but a lot of people love quartz.
Yeah.
Love quartz. So it'll be a quartz countertop throughout, so even in your bathrooms, kitchen, the whole works.
No Home Depot vanities here.
No Home Depot
Doesn't happen.
vanities.